Hello and welcome to another Mandalorian episode review. Today, I am back here on this Sunday. I hope all of you are having a fantastic week so far. I am joined by my new co-host, John, and not co-host anymore. Just joking. Helen is here with me. She's my co-host. But two co-hosts today. Really excited. Helen from the Clueless Fangirl, John from John Webster Film. Before I introduce my co-host, let's introduce our guest, John Webster Films. Welcome back to the channel, John. Last time we talked a little bit about before the Mandalorian season, and now we're here discussing it during. So pretty exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a heck of a season, hasn't it? I've been very much enjoying the ride. We talked about some stuff that I wanted to see going into it, and now I've been so pleased this year. It's been great.
Beyond past your expectations. And as you can see, actually, before we went live, he literally opened an Ahsoka Funko Pop in front of me, jelly. And then the funny thing is when Helen came after, she opened her goddamn Funko Pop of Leia. My God, Star Wars fanatics here today. Helen, you're muted.
Yeah, slow clap for Helen. Sorry, it's been a long day. Look, it's the Return of the Jedi Leia hair and the Leia Funko, and I just love her.
Yeah. So, what we'll do is what we usually do. We'll rate the episode out. I guess. Well, we're doing 10 blue prawn macaroons now.
Because I hate.
Because Helen hates rating things out of 5. So we're gonna do that. Another great episode. We got lots of things to talk about. I think I got something to talk about that maybe both Helen and John might not have catched. It was like a 1-second thing. I'm curious to see if both of you caught it. If not, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. Regardless, we're excited to be here today. And after we review the episode a little bit, we're gonna talk about some of the Disney Plus Investors Day stuff, because a whole lot of new shows are going to be coming to Disney Plus, which is really exciting. So John, let's start with you. Let's jump right into it. The episode 7 of season 2. We're on chapter 15 so far of The Mandalorian, The Believer, the return of Bill Burr. Just an absolutely fantastic actor. Another episode. What would you rate this one out of 10 blue prawn macaroons?
Oh God, I don't know. I know that I really enjoyed it. Let's say 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, a solid 8.
Yeah.
So a solid 8 from John. Helen, what would you rate it out of 10 blue prawn macaroons if you had to rate this episode?
Just because of Bill Burr's performance, and we saw the inside of Boba's ship, of the Slave One, and because I really liked, and you probably know that guy's name, but the Nazi officer's
Richard Brake,
name.
who played the first Night King, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So just because of those two performances and seeing the inside, I would give it a 9. The rest, I would say, was a solid 8. But those parts were literally a 10, and they were so amazing. And that's everything I love about Star Wars, and a good baddie and shooting people in a cantina, kind of.
I'd say
rooting for the Empire. I rooted for 10 seconds for the Empire, and then I was like, oh no, wait, it's the Empire.
And you're like, oh no.
I would actually give that mess hall scene a 10 because Pedro Pascal took off his helmet. And the way he acted that scene, we're going to talk about that. We're going to save that because holy geez, man, we're lucky to have Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian. But before we get into my rating in the review, I want to do some shout outs here in chat. Lady Leaf Underhill, Nicola, I do see Kate Bertinsky, Danny McKay, and a few other people joining us in chat. Thank you for joining us on Sunday. This is going to be a fun one. Just a really overall great episode. I think I'd give it a 9 too. I thought actually the more interpersonal character moments were even better than like the chase and fight scenes. I really enjoyed the fight scenes and the shooting and all of that. I always do. And the reintroduction of having Fennec Shan and Cara Dune and Boba Fett's armor. What a glow up. So all of that.
He got an upgrade. Yeah.
Nice new paint job. But yeah, I think I would give it 9. That scene with Richard Brake, who played that officer. I'm just going to pull up IMDb here to check his name. Valen Hess was his name. So
literally his name was Hess. How do they spell it? Because that's like a German.
Vallenhess. Wallen Hess.
Hess is literally a former German Nazi. So there you have literally the who worked for Hitler. So there you have
they talked about Operation Cinder, which we're gonna we'll talk about that. I know you guys know a little bit more about that than I do. But yeah, let's talk about the episode because this one was really interesting. We knew from the last episode, at the end of the last episode, when Mando went to go visit Cara Dune, that he was looking for some help, kind of like an Avengers Assemble type thing. I mean, Moff Gideon has Baby Yoda, and it's, Mando wants to get Baby Yoda back. We know that. Really interesting getting Mayfeld back. We see them go to a prison planet. I can't remember the name of the planet, but we see Mayfeld is just picking up junk and serving his time. I believe it was 15 years was his sentence.
At least it's not like the other guy who has like 3 times, I don't know, or 300 years or whatever.
Yeah, the guy we see in the pilot, hilarious. Yeah. Mithroy is his name. Yeah. So really interesting to have Bill Burr back. I thought his performance was the shining performance of the episode. We can talk about Pedro Pascal too, but overall, having him back was really interesting. And it was funny because I guess we can bring this up now, me and John, before you got here, Helen. We're talking about the new shows that they introduced, and Bill Burr got released Mayfeld got released at the end of the episode. So it would be interesting to see, since they keep on reintroducing Cara Dune and they have Bill Burr, if he would kind of show up in the Rangers of the New Republic. He's a free man. It'd be interesting to see if he showed up in that show, because I think that we're going to see Cara Dune in the Rangers of the New Republic show that was launched. They've been really showcasing her the past episode. Helen, me and you have talked, almost exclusively about this, talking about how we thought characters like Ahsoka were going to get spin-off shows. And now they're really starting to, we never necessarily knew that we were going to get some of these characters back, like Fennec Shand and Mayfeld, but it's really nice to see that they kind of have a blueprint for these person stories and their journeys that they're going to go on to. So that was to me really interesting, to seeing the personal character growth of Fennec Shand and Mayfeld, and seeing his wisdom, man. He was actually a lot nicer of a guy than we thought, right, John?
Yeah, because I anticipated that we might get him back as well as the other 2 characters from the prison episode eventually, but I had no idea what direction his story would take, because he's set up as an antagonist to Mando in the prior episode, but he comes in and we actually feel for the guy, and and he seems like he might go on a good path now. So it'll be interesting to see what direction his character takes, if he does go off onto one of the other shows, or if he will recur in this show. And yeah, it'll be great to see. I was really impressed by his performance. He was great.
Yeah, it was a gritty performance. Helen, and Bill Burr is known for comedy. Of course, he's a comedian. He's been on SNL. He's had some pretty hot takes on SNL. He was on recently, actually, and but he's talked about how it's been a crowning achievement for him to appear on Star Wars and play a character like this. So not only is he a huge fan of Star Wars, but I just I didn't think what his character was doing, giving advice to Mando. This is another situation where we see someone encouraging Mando to explore the world and see it for himself without the helmet on. Pretty big deal, Helen.
Well, he's not the first one who told him this, but the way he asked, wait, but is it not to show your face or not to show the helmet, not to take the helmet off? That literally, and you were like, Mando literally paused for a second and was like, good question. So no, I really like that. But what I liked more than, we kind of knew this was teased for so many episodes now, that he will take the helmet off. For me, it was more his acting, which I really liked. Like, he was lost, like a lost puppy, like, oh my God, yeah. how do I react? How do I play it off normally? But what I really liked more in that first scene, when they were in that tank or car thingy, whatever that was, I really liked what Bill Burr said, and then him later talking about the Empire and everything. And this is what I always say. I literally say this every stream, that it doesn't matter to the people, right? You're just another, force coming on their planet, robbing them of their whatever they have, precious metals or whatever it is, and they don't care. Is it the Empire? Is it the, because the New Republic did stuff like that as well. So they're all bad to that, and I really like that, because this is what I say: the Outer Rim and all these regions, they don't care for these politics. They don't care for that. They to them they're all the same, and I really like that, and it's true.
Yeah, one of the interesting pieces of wisdom that Bill Burr was talking about, he says, most of us are the same. And he was talking about, going to sleep at night. I actually got the quote here. 1 second, let me pull it up. I'll just run through it. He says, look, I'm just saying we're all the same. Everybody's got their lines they don't cross until things get messy. As far as I'm concerned, if you can make it through your day and still sleep at night, you're doing better than most. And then we see him even go a step even further. We talked about the mess hall scene with the officers and Valen Hess, and they're like, that was a very tense scene, because Bill Burr was like, we're busted. Like, we're already being looked at suspiciously by Valen Hess, the leader of this whole operation. And then he still goes through with it. And we see Bill Burr saying, basically, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to call you out for the atrocities that you committed with Operation Cinder.
And can I just say, like, it was pure comedy when he's going on and Din is just looking at him going, like, don't do this. It's just great, especially since we never get to see, we hardly ever get to see Pedro Pascal's actual face, to see him like nervously saying, don't rock the boat. But then, of course, Mayfeld, has no choice. He needs to do what he can to, as he says, sleep at night, and he's not going to be able to get out of this situation without doing this. And I think that's why we come to love his character.
Which is why we see some character. We see the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, literally take his advice. John, you get a little bit of an echo, so just when I'm just going to get you to mute every. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's not bad. I can just hear it in my headphones because I'm monitoring. But the one thing that's interesting about what Mayfeld says is basically to Mando is that, like, listen, are you gonna let this thing stop you from getting back to Baby Yoda, taking off your mask? And we see that in the end, right? Like, this is a pretty big change from the first episode of the season, right? Like, Mando is furious with Ahsoka when she's testing him and Bo-Katan was testing him and telling him that this is the way, this is, you know what I mean? Like, the Death Watch is essentially the Watch is religious zealots, and she's questioning his whole frame view of the world. So I think it was really interesting that he took that advice pretty quick, right? Like, yeah, it's been building up. Like, we've seen him take his mask off a couple times now. Once in the village, but we didn't see it from anybody else's perspective. We saw it with a droid, which, IG-11 doesn't really count, I guess. But now we're like, he's taking it off little by little in front of Baby Yoda when he was eating, when Baby Yoda had that little cute lunchbox. And all of that kind of stuff. And we see that kind of more. Baby Yoda was curious about it too. So more and more, they're putting this idea in our heads. And like Helen said, like, yeah, like we're pretty sure that we're gonna see a helmetless Mando at some point. But the point of how he gets there is the way they're doing it is really awesome, I think.
Yeah. No, but this is, it's not just taking the helmet off. It's more realizing maybe it's not really necessary, maybe it's not because they told him, this is how I understood it, there were just a few of them left and they literally went into hiding. So they didn't want anybody to know who they are, what their faces are, and to kind of survive, right? And now literally he found so many other Mandalorians because he thought his, this little coven he was in, they were just a few of them left, but he's now going into the galaxy and he's finding more and more Mandos, even somebody who was just in a Sarlacc, like for who knows how long. Yeah, and so I think that's also that it's not as bad. And this is what, if you remember what Bo-Katan told him, because he said, yeah, but Mandalore is destroyed. We can't live there anymore. And she told him, don't believe everything they are telling you. And I think this is what they're playing on, like saying that maybe this is just propaganda, right? And they can go back to Mandalore.
Yeah, it's really interesting too, because we saw a little bit of even pushback from Boba Fett, even though he's a mercenary. We talked about this a little bit in the last episode, Helen, about how Boba Fett didn't have to say, hey, I'm coming along for the ride. It's an incredibly risky investment for him. Like, Boba well knows that he could die on this mission. Like, it's almost like a suicide mission, John, essentially, right? Like, we got people like Cara Dune. Obviously, she's working for the New Republic now. Her situation is a little bit different, but Fennec Shand and Boba Fett really, like, okay, like they did their thing, but he's still sticking around. So even from Boba's perspective, the Empire is, like we see people doing things that we normally think that in their character they wouldn't do.
Yeah, I like that we've never really gotten to see this side of Boba Fett, because we've always seen it from the perspective of sort of Han's point of view in the OT, where, he's in pursuit of our heroes, but we get to see him operating on his own terms, and the fact that he has a code of honor. He's said that he would make sure that no harm came to the child, so long as he got his armor back, and he is going to fulfill that. What I really love that what we're seeing is sort of the continuation of all the character development we saw for Boba throughout the Clone Wars. And I really have felt watching Tamora Morrison's performance that he has delivered not just on what, he did in like prior movies, like when he was in Attack of the Clones and stuff, but he's carrying the weight of all this development that we've seen, not just for Boba, but for like the clones and stuff. I like the comment about they might recognize my face.
Oh my God, that was so cool. I don't know if everybody got that, but that was like all the clone troopers look like him.
And then we have a funny kind of tie into that, where Mayfeld says they're going to recognize your face to the Mando when he's getting his face scanned. Like, because we got to remember that Moff Gideon is literally like the leader of the Empire CIA intelligence. You know what I mean? He knows he's plugged in everywhere. Like, Moff Gideon's going to see that. But then at the end of the episode, we see Mando call Moff Gideon because he found his location, which I'm going to talk about. But that to me was we're like, whoa, okay. Now Mando showed how much he cares about Baby Yoda. He said, I care more about Baby Yoda, this child, more than you can even know. So that was a big whoa moment for me.
What Gideon told him in the first season about,
Yeah, so it's like, and all of these things are starting to tie together, right? Like, we get that him taking off his mask and that connecting to what Boba said. And the writing has been just fantastic. I see some people mentioning Dave Filoni. This season's writing has been so good. Even
but they mentioned Dave Filoni for another reason.
But I found that really interesting too. And I think the next episode is an hour, which is good, because the majority of the episodes have been like 38, 35 minutes, which is fine, because you shouldn't have to make an episode like an hour just because you have an hour of TV. You know what I mean? And I think they've been doing it really
I know, but I enjoy the longer runtime.
I agree with that too. As a Game of Thrones fan, we always wanted more. But yeah, it's really like I said, you brought some great points, John. Like, the character development has been absolutely fantastic. Even in episodes like this that might be considered a side quest, we have been, as opposed to like season 1, we've been seeing a little bit more of the more serious elements that they're bringing in, the raising of the stakes kind of in each episode. Like, even though this was a side quest episode, we still got a lot of really great character development and things that could pay off in the future for future episodes.
And I love to see the Empire, because it is important, because a lot of people's, like one of the biggest problems about the prequels was that sequels was that people didn't understand, okay, but how did this happen with the First Order? Because they didn't read all the aftermath books and all that, right? So people whose last idea was, okay, this was the Last Jedi, that happened in the Last Jedi. Please, what happened during that time? How did the Empire rise again? And these are important informations, and I think it's really cool to show, well, it's not like the Empire was completely destroyed. Operation Cinder, all these things, they had bases everywhere. Every episode we go, the Empire has a base, and they are mining and they are producing ships, and all that. This explains how the First Order came into power, and this is important. It's not just filler, it's literally filling gaps, and answering questions. And I really love that, because again, it connects the universe and it connects this to the sequels.
Speaking of, sorry, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, and it feels really real world too, this idea that we have our big victory at the end of Return of the Jedi, but evil doesn't go away. It's a constant battle, and to see that those, that the Empire is still there, laying low, waiting for their time, and they're doing all this stuff on the Outer Rim, and the New Republic isn't paying attention as much as they should. And it's kind of like they need a wake up call. It's like, pay attention to this stuff before it becomes the First Order.
Exactly, and it's shown with the two pilots. If you remember, the two pilots who offered Cara Dune the job, basically, they said, one of the guys said, okay, yeah, well, something weird is going on here, and I do think maybe this will be one of the new shows, guys. Is that? Would you? I forgot the name. Kyle, you mentioned it earlier.
Rangers of the New Republic. It's called.
Exactly. So I strongly feel this could be, those, not exactly those pilots maybe, but, people from the New Republic could help them and could want to find out. But then it was everything. If you remember, Mon Mothma, she literally wanted to get rid of all the weapons, of all the ships with weaponry. She wanted peace in the galaxy, and she wanted everything to be demilitarized. Is that a word? Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she wanted that. And that was actually the complete wrong move. And or at least they should have like squads out there and monitoring the Outer Rim and stuff like that, what John said, to be aware of, oh, something is happening here. But they felt so secure and so safe. And this is why Leia then later became so important, and why we learned parts of the New Republic then had these, because Leia was a rebel alliance, right? She split up from the New Republic because she said, no, there's a threat out there and we need to fight them. And the other ones were still playing politics and, like demilitarizing and everything. So it's really interesting because all this plays into this and gives you some answers. And I really love that.
Speaking of answers, I watched a really interesting video from Star Wars Theory yesterday. And he spoke about how Moff Gideon's location is literally shown, on a star map. And there's a specific location where there's a triangle where Moff Gideon is, okay? And in his video, he goes over there's this huge Star Wars map, Star Wars Theory. He's probably the best Star Wars content creator on YouTube, in my opinion. He says the two biggest possibilities for where Moff Gideon is Nal Hutta and also Kamino. And the Starway path...
Kamino makes sense.
I think it's Kamino.
Yeah.
And so now what we're essentially witnessing is a race for Mando to get to Moff Gideon before they get super hyperspace and they get out to Kamino. Because if they don't save Baby Yoda and they get to Kamino, that's a big issue. Because they're gonna be extracting whatever they can from Baby Yoda and experimenting on him as soon as they get there. So Nal Hutta is really interesting because It's a crime planet where the Hutts did a lot of their business. That's a big location where maybe Moff Gideon thinks he can operate and kind of do his thing. Helen, we kind of spoke about this possible civil war in the Empire between Thrawn and Moff Gideon. We're not sure they're allies. There could be another reveal in the next episode, but anyways, it's shown. If you guys go back and watch the episode, it's shown. It's only shown for a couple of seconds, but that's the hypothesis that Star Wars Theory pops out. If you want to go check out his video, I think he dropped it yesterday, and I thought it was really interesting. I always thought that we would. Because we got Dr. Pershing this season, and we got those bats. So I think there's a possibility that Baby Yoda actually doesn't get rescued this season, and we can see that.
Yeah, because this is what I say, right? If they get him back at the end of this season, then what's in season 3? He tries to get him again, or is that then about him finding the Jedi and the Jedi coming and the Jedi training? I mean, both could be possible.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't want him alive for long. I really do think what you say, they want to extract a certain amount of blood of midichlorians or however you do that, and then they don't really care. It's not like the Emperor
Dr. Pershing specifically said M count, Helen, high M count, right? We only have that with a few people. Anakin, Grogu.
Yeah, and if you see, I mean, again, Grogu just had a few years of training and in the academy, and he is already so powerful. So yeah, it makes sense that he literally has a very, very high M count. But plus, there are not that many Jedi left in the galaxy. So yeah, but I'm still. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they keep him, but it doesn't make that much. I don't know. I mean, let's. Let them surprise us. I'd be fine with everything, but I want more of these scenes. This is why I really like this episode with that general, talking about the Empire. And well, yeah, sometimes you literally have to, because this is real world. This is how war works, right? And I really love that. And then Mayfeld just being, I think, just at that point he realized how shit it really was, because he clearly had PTSD, right? I think we can agree on that. And I think he just tried to forget that, right? But then he realized, oh my God, this is bullshit. This is not how it should be. And yeah.
You're making such a great point, Helen. I want to do a shout out for these guys, by the way, before we move on. They're YouTube channels and social media in the description of the video. John's YouTube channel and Twitter in the description if you want to go check out his channel and you're enjoying what he has to say, and Helen as well in the description. And if you're enjoying this, like the video, subscribe. Lots of Star Wars content. One thing that I did want to mention, that Helen, you just made a great point, and I'll throw this back to you, John. Giving us the POVs of not necessarily the main protagonists, the Han Solos, the Leias. We're getting kind of some of the side characters, and we got a full monologue from Bill Burr in this episode. We got to see character growth, and I thought that was really awesome. So great point, Helen, on that, John. I'll just expand on that a little bit, and then I think we should start talking about some of the other funny stuff that happened in the episode, some of the aliens, some of the fights, and some of the other stuff. But yeah, I just think that, even like I said, even though this is a side quest episode, they made another great character development in Bill Burr and Fennec Shand and Rick Famuyiwa. He also directed an episode last season. He's pulled a lot from the Kurosawa-esque type of influences that George Lucas has always brought into Star Wars. But this one was pretty interesting. This was a really interesting episode.
Yeah, he also directed the prison episode, right? Mm-hmm. So he got to direct Bill Burr in both of these episodes, and yeah, it's great. I think that's what a lot of people like about the show, is getting to see the different corners of the Star Wars galaxy and characters who aren't the Skywalkers. They're not Jedi, and getting to see someone like Bill Burr who Mayfeld who was with the Empire, but through those experiences came to realize that maybe he wasn't doing the best thing in the world. And he's obviously, as Helen was saying, scarred by that. And I liked seeing that play out. And the fact that we got a true face of evil that he was literally staring at, and it's something that I think we recognize, and even in today's world, and we're rightfully scared by that. And I like the fact that he takes that moment to act, even though it's not tactically, it's not the smart thing to do, but it's great. It's to see this guy who we wouldn't normally get his perspective. And especially since he's painted as a bad guy in the first episode we get him in. As I said, I certainly didn't expect to go in this direction with his character. And it'll be even better if he ends up being, a main character in another show, to get this perspective as a major character in Star Wars will be great. And
he could be like the Cara Dune in the Cara Dune show. Like if Cara Dune ends up being kind of the main protagonist in Rangers of the New Republic, which is being floated around, that's one of the rumors. He could be like the one of the recurring characters, like an Ahsoka or a Greef Karga in that kind of show, I think.
Yeah, but I love this. But part of me is like I know we're talking about these characters going off to the different shows and stuff, but part of me wants to see him sort of keep coming back and see sort of a bond form with Mando and to get that sort of relationship evolve over time. So even if he does go over to the other shows, I want to see him still sort of come back into the fold with the Mandalorian. But if they were also talking about these shows intersecting at a later point, so that could still be in the cards regardless.
Yeah, like like the Mando crossing over into that show or Ahsoka show, stuff like that. They could totally do that. And like I said, chat, we're gonna after we're finished our review reaction, we are gonna talk about all the Star Wars goodness that we got. So yeah, Helen, overall thoughts on the rest of the episode? We got some cool fight scenes, a really cool chase scene. The choreography has been really spectacular this season. I think they will be nominated for some awards as they were for season 1, but I think they've even stepped it up even more this season. Like it's been tighter, even ever since episode 1, really, where Mando, was kind of in this undercity element, and he was fighting Darth Maul's race, and he was in there trying to save Baby Yoda. They've been doing that right from the bat. There's been a lot of action this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they got nominated last year and they don't get nominated this year, I'll riot, because it's been phenomenal this year.
I think we could see some performance awards as far as acting goes. I'm not saying there's not a lot of great TV shows out there, but there's a lot of shows that were pushed back. So this will definitely probably be in the running for some special appearances and stuff like that.
And this time I really liked the world a lot more, and it didn't feel like TV. Again, because this is what the only thing I didn't like about the Rodriguez one was literally it looked like it was filmed in his backyard somewhere in LA.
And it was only two groups of people. It was like Stormtroopers and Boba and Mando's group. Like it wasn't it was like kind of secluded.
No, but even the cantina scene and everything, it felt really, or whatever that was. But the base, it felt really cool, and it didn't feel like TV.
And we had almost another broom kid, Helen. They showed children, and we saw.
Oh Mando. My God! Hashtag broom kid.
But we saw the effects of what was happening from the Empire, and part of why Mayfeld did what he did, and also why Mando did what he did. Mando is already going to act upon this anyway, so I think we knew that. But it was interesting to see Mayfeld's choice, like John said, to do something that we didn't think was in his character because we didn't know that much about him. And I think that was really interesting because this village was suffering straight up at the hands of the Emperor. This is like child labor and shit, It's like this bad shit is happening there.
And come on, Helen, I know you wanted to see Broom Kid.
But I found that interesting, that kid. You know what I mean? Is that kid someone special? Like, was he... Because obviously after they've left, I mean... Mayfeld blew up that base, right? That kid is going to hear about the heroic acts of these people. Like, is he going to be inspired to become a rebel? Is this kid some sort of character that we're going to see later on? I don't know. I just kind of got that vibe from that one kid, I don't know. I just felt.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I just feel like he's a broom kid.
It's just you wishing that.
I'm wishing. No. Yeah, I'm wishing for Broom Kid. This is our comedy episode of our comedy portion of the live stream. I'm just going to shame myself for Broom Kid. But no.
Thank you. You deserve it.
It was another, and the cinematography's been beautiful too. The color schemes that are in each episode, like this, like Helen, you're right. This planet was really different. I feel like each episode has, the camera work, the cinematography. This episode felt really bright. It felt like almost like we were in Vietnam or something. It kind of felt like that. And obviously the chase scene was super interesting. They had to deal with the unstable cargo that they were transporting.
This is what I say. This is how, if you see reporters, or if you see documentations about soldiers in Iraq or literally anywhere, or in Vietnam or anywhere, this is exactly what they do. They have to drive these convoys. Sometimes they're not like heavily armed or anything. They're just driving somewhere, then they're attacked by people. This is real war, and I really liked that aspect of it, and not just Mando on a quest, but because what is happening out there. Everybody was literally a few years ago celebrating in Return of the Jedi the Empire has fallen, but the war is still going on, and I really like that.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying though about the cinematography, Kyle, I did especially love that shot when they're crossing over the bridge and you've got the mercenaries or whatever, the pirates running up at them. It felt very sort of, as you were saying, Vietnam War-ish, and then as the TIE fighters come in and they clear them out, that was great because, as Helen was saying earlier, we feel like we're cheering for the Empire for a second.
It was like a mirroring of the New Republic saving Mando. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're getting the inverse of that.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, but that's funny because then we go inside and we've got like the cheering, Empire soldiers, and we're like, oh, these guys don't seem so bad. But then of course we get that general in the mess hall, and we're like, no, this is the face of who these people are.
Quick, I gotta take a live selfie with you guys. I see Helen doing it, and I can't.
I just did it.
I can't let her outdo me right now. No, wait. Okay, wait. Chat. We're taking. Okay. Oh, fuck. I'm fumbling this shit.
Look pretty, everyone.
Okay, there. Cool. We should do one. I should take one of those. Every single time we do this. But anyways, yeah, I felt like the everything was well executed this episode. It was everything was so tense too. Like when they got back in there, they were like, oh shit. They're being celebrated like no one else made it back, just you guys. Like, you know what I mean? Take off your helmets. Come have a meal with us. You know what I mean? Like I felt like right away, like, oh my God, this is gonna go so badly. How are they gonna get out of this?
The episode starts off and Mando's like, we'll do this nice and quiet. It's like it's anything but.
People are putting or smiling in chat with emojis. That's really funny. Cheese. So yeah, overall the episode was really good. Like I felt like the dialogue was really good this episode. So overall the characters, like we got Cara Dune and Fennec Shand doing some sniping. That was super cool to see. Boba was Slave One. They had a lot of cool different elements that really.
Oh my God, Slave One! Like we're gonna talk about this Slave One and the sonic blasts or whatever those are, because like that brought me back to Attack of the Clones and being a young teenager and like geeking out over that was great. Like you can tell the prequel fans working on staff this year.
I kind of feel like Mando is going to end up getting Slave One. I feel like Boba might sacrifice himself, honestly.
I don't want Boba to
I don't want that. It's like we just got Boba Fett back.
Yeah,
I don't want him to die.
Yeah. So he survived that to get killed. But no, Boba should just be like a myth somewhere, living in the galaxy, living his best life in his dad-board armor. Like, please.
Yeah,
don't kill him.
But if you think of what could be more honorable than a warrior's death, Boba is a warrior. essentially. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, I don't know. It's just a gut feeling. I'm not saying he's going to die. I'm just saying I can see Mando end up with Slave One because he doesn't have the Razor Crest anymore. I'm just saying, guys, I feel like Mando's going to get Slave One. I just think so. I'm just calling it now.
But he doesn't have, I don't know, maybe there's a solution so he doesn't have to die. No, don't kill him.
Chat, just a quick question for all of you. What was your favorite moment of the episode? Please let us know in the comment section what you really enjoyed this episode. And what your overall score of the episode was. It's got to be out of 10 blue prawn macaroons, okay? That's how we roll here. I don't know if I'd necessarily buy them myself, though. They're pretty expensive. I might make them.
You're always talking about that. Is somebody making them or?
Yeah, people have been making them all over the internet and sharing it in like Twitter and stuff like that.
No, but selling, because you say they're so expensive, and selling them or?
No, I don't know about that. I haven't really done too much research on it, but yeah. So, what were your guys' favorite moments of the episode? Mine, I really loved the wisdom conversation with Bill Burr and Mayfeld, but I also loved the final moment of the episode where Mando was like, "I'm coming for you, Moff Gideon." Those are my two favorite.
For me, it's got to be the look in Mando's eyes. You know, when he takes off the helmet, it's like he's willing to break his creed for Grogu, and coming on the heel.
We call him Gogurt because of Sean Tank Top from Burlington Bar. Sorry.
But it's just because of that earlier conversation with Mayfeld about, like, you know, is it that you can't, take the helmet off, or you can't show your face? He's taking his little baby steps to breaking his creed. But when it comes down to it, and he has no choice, that it's, keep his creed or save, his son, and he's going to choose Grogu. It's just, that moment was really powerful for me, and got me right here.
Oh, go ahead, Helen.
I liked that monologue or that scene with the officer. That's my thing.
Your Empire scum.
I know, I like the Empire. Totally pro Empire. Yeah.
I'm pro Rebel, so it's funny that you're my co-host. Rude. So yeah, I don't think there was too much to focus on the rest of the episode. I think we got pretty much all the main stuff out of the way. For the most
it was
part.
a short one. I mean, it's not like,
yeah. And
no Grogu.
Yeah, no, this was.
Yeah, was the first episode without Grogu at all, and I was surprised by that.
Oh, he's still in his tiny handcuffs.
Oh.
Yeah, but no Grogu traded for Bill Burr. Oh, so an interesting trade to see. So we're going to see lots more of Baby Yoda because him and Mando are going to reunite at some point. I just don't know if it's going to be by. We'll do some predictions at the end of the live stream. But let's get into some of Star Wars Disney's Investor Day. And
were there announcements?
Did something happen? Oh my God, like literally that morning, because in Europe it was morning, because that happened before the episode came out here. Just like I heard of it like a few hours before. It was like 6 a.m. for me. I got up, wanted to go for a run, and then all these news hit and they showed some trailers.
10 messages from me.
Kyle messaged me like, bam, this and this and this is coming. And I was literally, till today, I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much. Not in a bad way, but it is a lot, isn't it?
Feels like Christmas came early.
It did, yeah. And it's not just Star Wars or the Marvel. I didn't even have time to look up everything Marvel. So I hope you give us an update on that, Carl. But it's everybody said, and I had that feeling because, there's so many people out there saying, oh my God, no, isn't it too much? And No, don't watch it if you don't want to. But give the people.
It's not enough because I wanted my announcement of Darth Maul and Kira.
God.
So give us more.
So wait, do you want to have Solo too, or do you just want to have an underworld show?
Yeah, I want to have an underworld show.
Okay, yeah.
Well, quickly on the Marvel thing, I've kind of mapped it out. Based on all the release dates. So there's going to be a new so WandaVision comes out January 15th, and then every 2 months after that, or 2.5 months, there's a new show. So there's going to be 6 Marvel shows next year and 4 Marvel movies, which means basically let's say I cover WandaVision on the channel from January till March, then Winter Soldier comes out, and then I cover Winter Soldier until May. Until Loki comes out. So basically, next year, the channel is going to be super busy. I friggin' love it. I am so excited. Fandom Media, the Mandalorian Marvel Universe on the channel. Plus, Mando comes out on Christmas Day next year. Did you guys see that announcement?
Yeah.
Now, does that mean because that's a little bit later than it has been usually, does that mean that there will be another Star Wars show airing?
I assume. I think in October. Yeah.
I think it's going to be either Andor or it's going to be Ahsoka. One of the two.
Yeah, Andor is almost.
I think Bad Batch will be coming sooner rather than later as well.
Yeah, Bad Batch looks pretty. Exactly, Bad Batch looked pretty. I mean, they can produce that without filming, right? So, I think and it looked good. Didn't you like it? I think the trailer.
It's funny because they're coming out with all these live action shows, but I'm still the most excited about the animated show because it is like it's a sequel series to Clone Wars, basically, and I'm just so excited by that. It's going to be great.
Well, they disintegrated the Clone Wars title lettering into Bad Batch, so that was cool. We talked a little bit about that before you actually joined the call, Helen. Just a little bit like about how it's like what is it like Clone Wars season 8 essentially, John. You're talking about that, so that's cool. Visions, I don't know too much about. Acolyte was a really interesting one.
Yes.
About 200 years before the Skywalker saga, kind of like the falling of the golden age of the High Republic. That's going to be really friggin' interesting.
Yeah, and Yoda, I do think they want, because I think they want the average Star Wars, who like viewer, maybe who just saw the cinematic movies, maybe now who's watching The Mandalorian, but who hasn't seen Clone Wars or Rebels or anything like that. I think they want them to have something they know. So Yoda could be in that show. Obviously, I do, because
now that you've said that, he better be.
Yeah, because I do think, this should be about a dark side user, right? That this is what this tells us. Even look at the colors and everything. This is dark side. So I do think this is the main protagonist. So they need Jedi, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. So it could, Yoda could play a role there because all the other one. I mean, how old? Dooku's not that old. No. None of the others
Palpatine isn't even alive yet.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Plagueis Master.
Mm-hmm. So that'll be.
But
really
no, they have established that Yoda will be around in those stories they're doing in the books for the High Republic. So it just makes sense that he would also be in that show, which like now I was excited about the High Republic books before, but like now I'm really excited to get ready for the show.
What we have to wonder is also how much of a hand Favreau and Filoni have in all of it. They're I heard they have basically, since Mando is the first Star Wars live action show on Disney Plus and the first real successful show, that's the first Disney Plus banger. Okay. Mandalorian. That's the success. Disney Plus has 86 million subscribers already because mostly of Mandalorian, in my opinion. But if you think about it, Jon Favreau and Filoni, the success that they're having with this, like Filoni, maybe he gets into New Republic, Rangers of the New Republic, or Ahsoka. We could see maybe Dave Filoni is the showrunner of Ahsoka, guys. I think that's a possibility, right? Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. The Obi show is directed by Deborah Chow, right?
And she directed an episode last season, yeah.
Yeah. I really want Rick Famuyiwa. He does such a good job. I want him to get more jobs on
Rangers
in
of the New
anything.
Republic would be perfect for him, I think.
Yeah.
Considering he directed this episode with Bill Burr, it's pretty interesting that they gave him this episode too. Like maybe it's a little bit of a tell that they are working with him behind the scenes. It will be interesting to see any of the directors or anybody that's been attached to the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian guys. And you guys can both jump in on this. If any of them kind of get, upgraded to showrunner or, director.
Yeah, I will say, looking at on the official site for Ahsoka, it does say after making her long-awaited live-action debut in The Mandalorian, Ahsoka Tano's story, written by Dave Filoni, will continue in a limited series starring Rosario Dawson and executive produced by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. So they will be behind Ahsoka.
It makes sense. It'll probably be like 1 season, 10 episodes or something like that. Maybe her going out to find Ezra, something like that, because she mentioned Grand Admiral Thrawn. And we talked about some of these threads not necessarily being able to get as much screen time because they're focusing on the Mandalorian plot line, but this is a way, like, Obi-Wan's only going to get 6 episodes, right? It's not going to get 5 seasons like The Mandalorian is, but it's just a great way to still expand on some of these untold stories that Star Wars fans have wanted for a long time. Like, even though Hayden Christensen isn't necessarily seen as the most popular actor in the Star Wars universe, people were stoked. Like, lots of big creators were like, holy shit, this isn't crazy that they're doing this. So.
But the thing is, people forgave the prequels because now there's the sequel hate.
But also, I'm actually really, even though Hayden Christensen is not my preferred Anakin, I much prefer the animated version of the character and the performance. But I will say I'm glad that he's coming back, because now he's coming back to this, he's me playing Vader, of course, but he's coming back now, being able to probably incorporate all that stuff that we've learned about Anakin since then, and having trained Ahsoka and all that stuff. And I love George Lucas, but everybody, kind of accepts that he's not the best actors director in the world. So I'm actually really looking forward to Hayden Christensen getting, direction from, people who will, be able to better work with him in that regard. And I think we could see a really great performance out of him. So.
Well, Ewan McGregor is the GOAT. Okay. He's my favorite. Yeah. He's the best.
Yeah. And even look, like, what's her name? Natalie Portman, right? I mean, she is such a great actress. Even she everything felt weird, right? And that is right. And that was bad writing, bad dialogues, like literally cringy dialogues, cringy scenes. And I think that was that. It was not that people hate him as Anakin. I didn't. It was more what you said, like he was misdirected. They were so young still. How old were they? Like 19? I think Natalie was 19, 20, something like that. I mean, people grow up, become better actors. So I think it's cool that Hayden comes back. And you see it in the reactions of fans whenever he goes to these conventions and everything. People love him. Mm-hmm. And he belongs to that universe. If they would recast him, that would be weird. And I'm glad, Vader come, because it will be Vader, because
they specifically said Vader and Obi-Wan are going to fight.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, that was I think in Kathleen Kennedy's comment, right? And she said something like that. It's Kathleen Kennedy.
Her words were like, it'll be the rematch,
exactly,
which could mean many things.
Because when they sometimes, change things, but when they meet at Cloud City, right, and they have that duel, you feel like they didn't duel after Mustafa. They didn't even met, but I mean, okay, well, now they can make it happen. I'm glad for it,
Let's say they only even get 4 episodes, guys. Let's say all 4 episodes are 40 minutes. That's like getting 3 fucking movies.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And Ewan McGregor is gonna carry the whole show. Okay.
Yeah.
He is so good as Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I could go back and watch the prequels just for that guy.
Yeah. And as I said, I do want them to bring, because we know he was in contact with Bale, because he still wanted to look over or check what Leia is doing at that time, because Leia was with Bale. So I think he will not just stay on Tatooine and be with Luke. I really do think he will travel through the galaxy and maybe visit, or Bale is visiting him. So I really want, to learn more about that side as well. I don't just want to be on Tatooine, because Luke was just on Tatooine. I don't want it to be just about him watching over Luke, but I don't think that will happen.
I think it's going to be like a spy thriller type thing.
Yeah.
Where like Obi's trying to.
Yeah. I think it'd be an amazing show. Yeah. I'm happy for it.
I think that's the one I'm most excited about. Like Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I did read something that said that that it'll start on Tatooine, but it'll be going to other places. So it's not going to just be Obi-Wan on Tatooine.
Yeah, that's what I hope.
So that we've talked a little bit about it on a few different live streams about how excited about that one we are. I would say the one that I'm second most excited for is Ahsoka. I think.
No, I'm now Acolyte. I'm like, my number 2 is Acolyte, because I like the baddies. So I want to know, because I really, what was his, because time-wise, it would make sense. It's Plagueis Master. What was his name? I forgot. I read the Plagueis novel. I forgot now, I have to Google. But it could be about him, or because there were not that many Sith at that time, because it was always the rule of 2, right? Since Bane. So, that would be pretty interesting.
I'll Google it right now.
Yeah, Google it, because that could be the timeline. And that would be so cool. John,
Rugus Gnome is his, Rugus Gnome.
No.
Oh, sorry. No, that's Plagueis' name. Never mind.
Yeah.
Who's his master? I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, people are very excited in the chat about Ewan McGregor. I get that.
Continue on. Lando was also announced. Is that going to be live action with Donald Glover?
Yeah, from everything I've heard, I believe it's live action. Which is why I might get my wish with that. We were talking earlier about how Kira and Maul might actually
that could be
show up in that.
I can see that. Yep, because Lando, is probably still doing dodgy business.
But it's like I wanted Emilia Clarke to have her own Star Wars show.
Yeah, I was right. By the way, Rugus Gnome is Darth Tenebrous, and he's a Twilight.
Darth Tenebrous, exactly. That's the name. Yeah. So it could be about him.
That's
and Plagueis.
Lando is also announced. I'm more. I want to see more out of that one. That could be more of a fun one, though. You know what I mean? Kind of like Mando, but going around and more cantina type fun things like that. Seeing like different weird parts of the galaxy type stuff. What else? So we talked about that. Rangers of the New Republic, we obviously talked about quite a bit. That could be pretty interesting. I think that'll be Cara Dune. I think people were calling for Bill Burr to be in, like, after they made the announcement for him to be in the show. So they might even just say, okay, like that might be a thing that we don't know about behind the scenes, but it can be something that can be considered now that he has had such a great performance. And they're going to need more than one person in the show. So it makes sense that, possibly Bill Burr could be in it, but I think that'll be Cara Dune, because they've pretty much, kind of foreshadowed that she was going to join the New Republic, and then the next episode she's already in the New Republic, and they're moving pretty fast with some of this stuff. So I think that we could see her in that. And then what else was there? Bad Batch is the animated kind of inverse of Clone Wars, which, John, you said you were really excited about.
Yeah, it's the thing I'm most excited for, because it's especially since, spoiler alert, the end of Clone Wars was a very sort of macro view of just, I don't even know if I use that word right, but it was basically going in on Ahsoka and Rex and what they were doing.
A spotlight on them.
Yeah, it was a spotlight on them during Order 66. But you can see that right off the start of this show, we're going to get this wide view of what is going on with like all the clones as this all happens. And I just love that this story of the clones is going to continue on this. And, you know, I said before, like, I'm super glad that it's going to be like in the exact same animation style as Clone Wars, because it does feel like it's that show just continuing on, which is what all Clone Wars fans have wanted. It's like, just give us more and more seasons.
We got a donation here. Coin to your YouTuber, oh Valley of Friendly. Toss a coin to your YouTubers, a friend of humanity. Oh, thank you very much, Ellie. And she says, Helen, you're so right. She often is. Acolyte is going to be awesome. It's speculated it's Bane's apprentice. Ooh. That's I see quite the chat going on in chat, which I like about all of these new shows. Yeah, so we...
And Palpatine is in Bad Batch. Yay.
That'll be cool, too. So, Rangers of the New Republic, we just talked about it a little bit. Lando. Then there was a droid story, C-3PO and R2-D2. Is that going to be live action?
It's animation.
Animation? Yeah. Okay, so that's another animation.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention when we were talking Bad Batch, fans have spotted who they believe is Fennec Shand in the Bad Batch footage. So it would be a younger Fennec, which, like, they better get Ming-Na Wen to voice, you know, the animated. That would be super cool.
She's actually done a lot of voice work. She's really good at that.
Yeah.
Then she could know Ahsoka, if you think about it, because in Bad Batch, Ahsoka could somehow show up.
I think that would make a lot of sense. And, you know, of course, you guys know, like, I'm going to enjoy the new Ahsoka show, and I loved her appearance in Clone Wars, but I do want to get more Ashley Eckstein Ahsoka. So I do hope that she makes some appearances in Bad Batch.
Yeah.
We also got the announcement that Patty Jenkins is going to be directing Rogue Squadron. She's, of course, the director of Wonder Woman. Fantastic. Yay. And her father was a fighter pilot. So she knows her shit. She's going to be so good for that.
By the way, Wonder Woman coming literally, I think, in 2 days.
No, 2 weeks from now, the 24th.
No, I think it's going to cinemas on the 15th.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I thought it was dropping on HBO Max on the 24th.
Yeah, but I think in cinemas it's 15th. No,
oh, wow.
I think in 2 days. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna have to check.
I think on Tuesday. Yeah.
That's man. I'm really excited for that. I think that
it says I just looked it up. Release date December 25th. It's on Christmas.
Okay, so I thought it was the 24th. Even I might have to go check, but I swore I was just looking at it earlier. But either way, I think Gal Gadot's the best thing in DC right now. She's terrific as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and if I can do some shameless plugging now. The week after it comes out on my channel, Amy and I will be doing a stream discussing the film. So come for that Wonder Woman 1984 coverage.
Anybody that hasn't subscribed to John's channel, do so now. Commanding you. He does awesome live streams and content. What else do we have? You talk about all sorts of movies and TV shows, John. Andor is another one we briefly discussed. That's another show. They didn't say limited series, did they? Is it limited or is it a full order? Can you find that out, John?
Sorry, which one was that?
Andor.
Let's see.
And there's Star Wars Visions. I don't think I know much about this one. I'm trying to pull this one up. One sec, Chad. I'm just pulling up Star Wars Visions. This is an anime. Oh, okay. So this is going to be animation.
It doesn't say Andor is limited. It just says Andor, a tense, nail-biting spy thriller created by Tony Gilroy, is set to arrive on Disney Plus in 2022.
But it would make sense that it is limited, people, because I mean, how much story is there? Seriously, I know I'm negative about this, but there's not that much story.
Regardless, still cool. Even like, let's say it's 1 season or 2 seasons. Even if it's 2 seasons, it would be cool. If it's 1 season, cool. The fact that we're getting more, like Mando seems like it's going to be the main hub show And then all the other one, like Rangers of the New Republic, might be another. Like Rangers of the New Republic is going to be another show with multiple seasons with some of the characters from the Mandalorian. So that's pretty much. I think we got everything. So Droid Story. So here's all the announcements for the new shows. Droid Story, which is going to be animated. Bad Batch, which is also going to be animated, and Visions. So 3 are going to be animated. Then Lando, we don't know too much about that yet, but apparently Donald Glover is rumored to come back to that. I'm sure they're going to get someone big name to do it, and he's already played Lando in Solo. So, I mean, it would make sense for him to come back. He was really liked. Then there's Acolyte, which we talked about. This is going to talk about the High Republic. Obi-Wan, which is self-explanatory. Rangers of the New Republic, Mandalorian Season 3, and Ahsoka. So that's a lot. And then they announced Indiana Jones' new movie. A Willow TV show is coming back.
Yay!
I'm a lot more excited about the Willow show than I thought I would be. Like now that they've announced it, I'm super hyped up for that.
And also forgot to mention Taika Waititi is going to be directing a Star Wars feature film.
And you know what? I love that they didn't mention Ryan Johnson's whatever he claimed.
You know what, Helen? They haven't announced the director for the final episode of this season of The Mandalorian. I want it to be like the most kick-ass episode, and then the title screen comes up directed by Ryan Johnson.
Won't happen.
I thought The Last Jedi was the best of the newest 3 movies, so I'll just say that. Anyways,
Ryan Johnson hates Star Wars, and Star Wars fans hate Ryan Johnson.
I think you protest too much. Helen.
I believe it's Jon Favreau that's directing the final episode, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's incredible news. Some people are belly aching, like, it's too much. Disney is milking Star Wars. I mean, some of these are limited series, and if they're anything like The Mandalorian, 75% of The Mandalorian, sign me the fuck up, okay? 2020 has beaten us. This is a nice little W, a victory, okay? Let us have our fun, people. Let us enjoy. Which one? So I want to know which one. So Helen, you're most excited about Acolyte after Obi-Wan?
No, Obi and then Acolyte, yeah.
And then after that, give us another one. Ahsoka? You'll be Ahsoka? Okay, John?
Bad Batch is the number one that I'm looking forward to. And then, Ahsoka.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, chat, let us know what you're most excited for all of these. It really did. I felt overwhelmed too, Helen, because it wasn't just Star Wars. They announced all the new Marvel shows. I can bring up, you guys like Marvel too, right? We can bring up all the other Marvel ones too, just quickly. I know this is
I'm not as big of an MCU fan as you guys are, but there is some stuff I'm looking forward to. WandaVision is going to be a trip. I'm looking forward to that.
And they're tying it in.
Literally the one I'm looking forward the least.
Monica Rambeau. Monica Rambeau from Captain Marvel 2 is going to be in WandaVision. They're going to be tying it in also with Doctor Strange, the second movie.
Aren't they filming a new Doctor Strange? I thought
Multiverse of Madness, and the actress who plays Wanda will be in it as well.
Oh, I'm also looking forward to that What If animated series.
Yeah, that'll be really cool because it's going to be a spin, like the alternate universe of stuff that goes down in Marvel, like if Captain America was Hydra and stuff like that. Because there's all sorts of alternate universe stuff, multiverse stuff that happens in the Marvel movie.
They're going to have Peggy Carter as Captain America, basically. So she won't be Captain America, but you know what I mean.
And when is Thor: Love and Thunder? When is that coming out?
2022. And Christian Bale is going to play Gore the Butcher, who I think is just an amazing villain. Christian Bale will be the main villain in Thor: Love and Thunder. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love this. Amy Blackfire. Oh my God. The Clueless Fangirl. I love you, but I love Wanda and the Ents. We can still be friends.
I saw.
I just said maybe.
Also, I see people in chat. Ahsoka. Who else? I see some other ones. Ahsoka, Bad Batch.
It's pretty similar. Bad Batch. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't like picking favorites. That's fair. There really is a lot to choose from, and just the fact that we're getting more is just great. I mean, there was a big void left after Game of Thrones, and now there's Star Wars and Marvel and all sorts of good shows, which are coming out. I'm most excited for out of the Marvel stuff is probably I like Loki a lot. I'm really looking forward to that. But Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out in March. I probably as far as knowledge goes, know the most about that. So I'm excited to cover that. You know what I mean? Because I know most about Captain America and Falcon and Bucky Barnes and all, and Baron Zemo. And that's going to be really cool because if you like the Winter Soldier and Captain America movie, like the tone of the movie, it's going to be like that, like politics, nationalism type of stuff in it. And I'm really into that. So I'm looking super forward to that.
What excited me about Loki was just by the look of it. It looks very distinctive from the films. The cinematography has this sort of dark, gritty look almost, without going over into the grittiness of like the DC films or anything like that. But it does look darker than what they do with the MCU films. So I'm very interested in getting like a different shade of a story about Loki. That'll be interesting.
And I love that they're bringing all these characters back. You know what I mean? Like Mark Ruffalo's coming in for She-Hulk. He's going to be in that series, like probably limited amounts of it. They're doing a War Machine series, even though he's not your favorite character. They can continue on like maybe his relationships with Tony and some of the like they could bring like Robert Downey Jr. in for like a cameo, like and like that kind of stuff. Sorry, go ahead, Helen.
No. I wanted to know, do you know anything about the Eternals? Did they stop filming?
No, it's coming out next December. So the 4 movies that are coming out next year, Helen, are Black Widow.
Yeah.
Is the first one that comes out. Then it's Shang-Chi, which is about the 10 Rings and the Mandarin, which is actually tied to Iron Man's story. So that's set in Asia, and that's actually going to be, I think that one's going to be really good. You know how, what was that movie that was super underrated? I don't know off the top of my head. Black Panther had those cultural tie-ins to Africa in that way.
Is like Asia.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think how Black Panther blew up. I think this movie is going to blow up. It's going to be really underrated. And they're getting all sorts of like professional martial artists and stuff that are going to be in it. So they're going to be practicing like real martial arts. So I think it's going to blow up overseas too, so I think that's going to be, and they've already figured out the coronavirus over there, it seems like, so it's going to be good for their cinema. They're going to make tons of money over there. So there's that. Then there's also the Eternals, which you talked about. So Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, and then Spider-Man. The Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man. Yeah, right.
It comes out on the 24th. It comes out like the day before Mandalorian Season 3 comes out, I think.
Which, if you pay attention to all the memes, everybody in every role ever done is making an appearance.
Yeah,
Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Kirsten Dunst. I think that's going to be awesome. They're bringing back. What they're doing is, instead of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're doing the Marvel Multiverse now, right? And Spider-Man, there's not going to be really Avengers anymore. It's going to be the Spider-Man's going to be the new Iron Man. So everything's going to tie into the Spider-Man universe, I feel like.
Which I really like this move that they're making, because that also, this may not be their intention, or maybe it is, but what I like is that as I've been a fan for years of the Fox X-Men franchise, what this kind of does is that also extends to that and says, that is invalid, but the X-Men that we'll be doing for the MCU will basically just be another part of the multiverse. And so it doesn't invalidate what's come before, which I think is brilliant.
Then 2022, Black Panther 2. Chadwick Boseman sadly passed away this year from colon cancer. But Shuri, his sister, will probably take up the mantle as Black Panther.
And have you guys seen that intro that Marvel put out of the Marvel logo, but with Chadwick Boseman?
Yeah.
Just on there. That was beautiful. And I really hope they use that to open up the second Black Panther.
Yeah.
It's really sad. They won't be recasting him. When I say recast, they won't be recasting the role of a male Black Panther. Is what they're going to do. Thor: Love and Thunder, then Captain Marvel 2, And then Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Oh, yeah, the Christmas. Yeah, right.
They also announced a Groot TV show. And he has, believe it or not, people are skeptical about this.
We didn't see Groot's family.
Oh my God. He has them like you know, like how we are seeing cool Mandalorian lore about like.
But will people talk there? Like, are they talking or is?
But you gotta figure it's gonna feature Rocket Raccoon, right?
Yeah.
So that's.
I'm sorry, like I just don't see them passing up the opportunity to make a Star Wars Holiday Special joke and go visit Groot's family and have them all just saying, "I am Groot. I am Groot."
Well, James Gunn's going to be directing that and Guardians 3, which comes out 2023.
Like life day in with ends.
And then Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And then for future shows, there's Ironheart, there's Armor. Ironheart is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a female lead. Blade is going to be really good. What's his name? I can't pronounce his name. I have to go search this up on IMDb. And then they re-announced they're redoing Fantastic Four, and I believe the villains in Fantastic Four will be some of the X-Men, which is going to be interesting. So a lot of really cool stuff happening. You know, obviously so many shows got pushed back from this year into next year, but 2021 is going to be friggin' insane with content to enjoy for everyone.
So somebody in the chat, I think it was Jess, literally said, "Oh my God, so many shows, I have to quit my job." That's how I feel.
To just watch everything and see everything that goes down. But yeah, I think you know, an Ant-Man Quantumania also got announced. That's another one. Yeah, and it's just cool. They're doing shows with and female leads. This is going to be great. And some of these will be limited, and some of these will be going on longer, obviously. But it's just so kick-ass and this was all dropped on one day. Like that was just
that's why I said it was so overwhelming. I think this is what a lot of content creators felt. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, what?"
And then they're doing Moon Knight. What's his face? Who is why am I forgetting names right now? He was in the new trilogy as the Han Solo-esque character. Why can't I remember his name? He's apparently cast as Moon Knight.
He was Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich, or what?
No. In the new trilogy. Why am I can't?
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac is apparently cast as Moon Knight. They were looking for Keanu Reeves. And Moon Knight is also going to be... Well, how can I remember that? Wow. Oscar Isaac. Yeah, he's fantastic. Secret Invasion is going to be the new Avengers Endgame. We saw that previewed. Samuel L. Jackson will be coming back with Ben Mendelsohn, the Skrulls. Those are the shape-shifting species that can turn into any of the Avengers. And Secret Invasion is a really, really cool plot line. And then Miss Marvel is going to be really cool. That comes out late next year with Hawkeye. So yeah, that's all of the news from shit.
It's not enough.
I'm going to do some reaction videos tomorrow on this. I don't know how many videos I have to make, but I got to make a few because there's Star Wars and then there's Marvel and there's literally 10 new Marvel shows, 10 new Star Wars shows, and then 15 movies they announced, which is just insane. Happening in the majority of from 2021 to 2023 and then some into 2020.
Like, after 2020, like this is what we need.
Yeah, we needed a big victory, right? And it was a little bit of something for everyone, for those who do like Disney. And a lot of people were saying, well, Disney Plus, it wasn't worth the price of admission. Well, next year you're going to get your money's worth, people. If you're a fan of Marvel and you're a fan of Star Wars, it's going to be crazy. You're going to get your money's worth. So, yeah. You guys are happy about the announcements?
Yeah, it's just, it's going to be great. Like I said, you know, I just wanted that one more announcement of that, you know, the Darth Maul and Kira show that I wanted, but I can't complain. With the wealth of stuff we're getting, it's going to be fantastic. I mean, I get for me, I get the continuation of the Clone Wars. Everything else is just gravy.
Well, that's going to do it for today, everyone. If you enjoyed the live stream, please make sure you go check out John's channel, John Webster Films. He also does Here Be Dragons. I'll let you plug that in a second. You can find that in the description of the video. All the links to John's social media and his YouTube page. Also, Helen. John, what's next for you, my friend?
So tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to be on Here Be Dragons. Stephen and Nessie and I are going to be talking about Kamina Drummer from The Expanse, and we're going to be joined by Alicia Kingston. So make sure you tune in for that. And also on my channel, Amy Blackfire and I are in the midst of talking about Lord of the Rings. Nice. We're going to be covering Return of the King next Saturday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So make sure you tune in for that too.
Nice. And like I said,
with Helen.
We're going to have lots of guests, and Helen is one of them. And also Carol and Dan from Voice of Geekdom.
Carol Brown, nice.
Yeah.
And Helen, what's next for you?
As always, there's a more content on my channel, The Clueless Fangirl, about the Lord of the Rings, and I just did 2 epic streams with everybody knows who knows me that I love nerdy men, and there's one professor out there. His name is literally the Tolkien professor, Corey Olsen, and he published books, and he is very well known in the Tolkien world. Dan and I interviewed him, and it was epic, and that's coming out on Dan's channel pretty soon. And we had a blast, and we literally talked to him. We said, we want to interview you for 1 hour, and then we talked for 2.5 hours, and it was so cool. And it was really, really good. Might get him to my channel as well to talk about Numenor. And then I did an interview with Yoyston from Men of the West, which kind of blew up a bit on my channel. And he's such a nice guy. He's literally the biggest Lord of the Ring YouTuber out there. And he is just a super cool, fun, nice person. And we had a fun chat. We mainly laughed about stuff. But if you want to check that out, it's really cool. It's like an over 1 hour interview with him, and him bashing me on my Turin Turamba hate. And that's on my channel. And that's it. I'll drop more videos. I'm writing a lot of videos, and I have more time. I have 4 weeks off from end of next week on. Yay. So good times coming, and more stuff coming from my channel. And I'm excited about next Friday, Kyle. And I think we'll have fun guests. Who's coming?
Aziz from History of Westeros. I still gotta iron that out with him to make sure he's coming on the finale with us. That'll be the final episode of that. And then on the Tuesday, Thursday, I'm going on Sean Tanktop's channel to do a prediction stream with them. Helen, I believe Sean said he reached out to you. Has he yet? About the stream on Thursday?
No, he's just sending me memes of Baby Yoda in hand.
Well, Helen was also invited to a stream on Sean Tanktop's channel, who runs Burlington Barn Thursday night, which is going to be basically what's going to happen on Friday for The Mandalorian next week. The Expanse drops on Wednesday. My God, that's going to be crazy. I know you're excited about that, John. I will be teaming up with Ashaya. I had a live stream with Ashaya at 9 p.m. Friday night. We're going to be covering all 3 episodes next week. Then I have to talk to Aziz and Mikal, see if they're both good for the podcast surprise next Thursday, which is supposed to happen. So, and then Helen and me are supposed to somehow collaborate for the final Mando breakdown. But
we'll do a fun Christmas stream.
Yeah, so it's going to be me, Helen, Sean Tanktop, and I believe the Draces. I'm going to be doing a Star Wars Christmas special with some drinks and stuff like that. So lots of content. I'm trying to get my schedule in order, everyone. Holy crap, it's pretty crazy trying to align everyone's schedule around holiday season. But
Kyle, can I mention one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
For my channel, because it just occurred to me, maybe I can get some people who haven't seen it yet to watch. A couple of weeks ago, I did a stream, an interview stream with a fellow by the name of Doug Adams, who wrote the book, The Music of the Lord of the Rings films. He's worked very closely with Howard Shore over the years. He knows those stores better than anyone. So if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings or the music, give that interview a listen. We talked for 3 hours. It was phenomenal. So make sure you catch that.
That's content, people. You need content. So go check it out. Like I said, thanks to John for joining us today as a special guest. You can find his Twitter and YouTube description of the video. Helen, my lovely co-host, you can find the Clueless Fangirl Twitter and YouTube in the description of the video. And if you want to support the channel, everyone, you can hit that join button. Starts at $4.99 a month, or Patreon at $1 a month. You can find the links in the description of the video. Thanks everyone for joining. We appreciate you, and stay safe. May the force be with you.